The swamp was silent except for the sound of squishing mud under Darren's boots. His ship had landed here 2 days ago after a signal from an old satellite caught his attention. The planet, once a research colony, had been abandoned for years. Now it was just water, fog, and broken metal ruins. Darren was not a soldier anymore, just a lone mechanic and salvager. He searched for old tech, hoping to sell parts back on Mars. But today felt strange. The wind carried a low, sad sound, almost like a cry. He paused. There it was again, a faint moan. Not a machine, not animal. It sounded like someone in pain. Darren moved toward the noise, pushing through thick vines and sticky mud. His scanner showed no life signs, but the sound was real. He followed it around a fallen tree and stopped. There, half buried in a pit of mud, was a figure, a woman, not human. Her skin was pale blue, now coated in thick brown mud. Her long, silver-white hair was soaked and stuck to her face. She had no clothes. Her body was thin, too thin, like she hadn't eaten for days. Her eyes blinked slowly as she tried to lift her head. "Hey, you alive?" Darren whispered, stepping closer. She flinched. "Easy," he said, lowering his weapon and kneeling. "I'm not gonna hurt you." She couldn't answer, but her eyes, those big glowing purple eyes, looked at him with fear, and something else. Hope. She tried to speak, but only a soft breath came out. Her hands were shaking, reaching toward him. Darren pulled off his thick thermal coat and wrapped it around her. She shivered in his arms, but she didn't pull away. "Who did this to you?" he muttered. The mud was cold and she was freezing. Darren lifted her gently. She was light, too light. Bones under skin. She had scars on her back. Long, deep scars. As if something had cut into her again and again. He carried her back to his small camp, just a tent and a portable heater beside a wrecked shuttle. He laid her on a soft blanket, turned the heat up, and gave her water. She sipped slowly, then coughed. He helped clean some of the mud from her face. Under all the dirt, she was beautiful. Not just because of her features, but something else, a strange calm, even in pain. "Can you understand me?" he asked. She blinked once. He pointed to himself. "Darren," then pointed to her. She didn't answer, just stared at him. "It's okay," he said. "We'll try again later." He gave her a protein bar. She chewed slowly, watching him like a scared animal. He kept his distance, letting her feel safe. After a while, she curled under the blanket and closed her eyes. That night, she woke, screaming. Darren sat up instantly. She was shaking, eyes wide open, gasping for breath. In her sleep, she had whispered something, words he didn't understand. But her terror was real. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You're safe here," he whispered. She stared at him for a long second, then slowly reached out and touched his hand. It was a small moment, but Darren felt it deep inside. Whoever she was, wherever she came from, someone had hurt her badly. And yet, she still reached for kindness. As dawn broke, Darren sat by the entrance of his tent watching the fog lift from the swamp. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why she was left to die, but he had made a decision. He would protect her. No matter what came next. Morning came slowly over the wet swamp, and with it a strange silence. Darren sat outside the tent cleaning his gear, but his mind was on the alien girl sleeping inside. He didn't even know her name. All he knew was she had been left in the mud to die. He heard her moving and stepped in. She sat up slowly, still, wrapped in the thermal blanket. Her silver hair was dry now, and her glowing eyes looked sharper, more alert. But her body still trembled. She pointed to her stomach. "You're hungry again?" Darren asked. She nodded once. He smiled and opened a food pack. Human food. Not fancy, but it works. She sniffed it carefully, then ate. Still cautious, but faster than yesterday. Darren tried again. He pointed to himself. Darren. Then, to her. She looked at him, then pointed to her chest. Raya. Raya. Darren repeated. That's your name? She gave a small nod. The first real sign of trust. Good, Darren said. We're getting somewhere. That afternoon, Darren powered up his scanner and began checking the swamp edge for danger. Rhea watched from the tent, quiet, but always alert. Her eyes scanned the trees as if she expected someone. Darren walked over and showed her the small device. Scan, he explained. Look for danger. She took it slowly and touched the screen. It glowed and shifted colors. Darren frowned. That's not supposed to happen. The scanner began blinking fast like it had found something strange. Rhea gasped. She turned away and covered the back of her neck. Darren leaned in. There, barely visible under her silver hair, was a small mark glowing faint blue. It wasn't a tattoo. It was tech, some kind of implant. Darren's voice dropped. Is this a tracker? Rhea looked scared now. She nodded, slowly. Darren sat back. They marked you? She whispered one word, broken and heavy. Test. His stomach twisted. She wasn't just some refugee. She had been part of an experiment. That night, a storm rolled over the swamp. Wind and lightning. Rain pounded the tent like drums. Rhea curled under her blanket, tense. She stared at the ceiling and whispered words in her language. Darren couldn't understand, but he recognized pain when he saw it. He sat beside her. You're safe here, Rhea, he said softly. She turned to him. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched his chest, right above his heart. He froze. Her eyes said more than her voice ever could. Why? Why are you helping me? Darren didn't know how to explain. Maybe because she looked so broken. Maybe because no one else had helped her. Or maybe because something about her made him feel like he had a reason to fight again. You didn't deserve what happened to you, he finally said. Later, as Rhea slept again, Darren stepped out into the rain. His scanner buzzed. He looked down. A red dot had appeared on the edge of the screen. Something or someone was moving out there. Coming closer. Darren's face hardened. Whoever had done this to Rhea might be back. And this time, they would have to go through him. The rain stopped just before dawn. Mist floated over the swamp like ghosts. Darren stood at the edge of his camp, staring at the blinking red dot on his scanner. It hadn't moved all night. But it was still there. He walked back into the tent. Rhea was awake, sitting cross-legged, hugging the blanket tightly. She looked up at him with calm eyes, but her body stayed tense like she could bolt any second. We might have company, Darren said quietly. Rhea tilted her head. He showed her the scanner, then pointed toward the swamp. She understood. Her hands began shaking. Darren sat beside her. You're not alone anymore. I'll protect you. She looked at him, then slowly turned her back. Her silver hair fell aside. Darren leaned in again. The mark on her skin was glowing brighter now. A thin blue line shaped like a broken circle pulsed under her skin. Around it were tiny scars, like someone had cut and stitched her over and over. He touched the mark gently. It hummed under his fingers. This is not a normal tracker, he whispered. Rhea turned her head and whispered, I glow. Darren raised an eyebrow. Glow? She placed her hand on her chest. Inside, not natural. He powered on his old data pad, trying to access medical archives. After some time, he found something close. A failed bioweapon project developed in secret by alien scientists. It was shut down, but rumors said the test subjects escaped, or were dumped. He looked at Rhea again. She sat quietly, her hands glowing faintly now like her nervous system was lit with soft lightning. She wasn't just a survivor. She was modified. Rhea, he said slowly. You were made for something? Her voice cracked. Weapon, baby, weapon. His heart sank. You're a living tool to them. She nodded and looked away. Suddenly, the scanner let out a shrill beep. Darren ran to it. The red dot was moving now, fast. It was heading straight toward them. He turned to Rhea. We have to move now, but she stood frozen, eyes wide. It follows light, my mark calls it. Darren grabbed a thick patch from his kit, something made to block radiation. He pressed it against the mark on her back. The glowing stopped. She collapsed to her knees, groaning in pain. The patch burned her skin a little, but it blocked the signal. It's okay, Darren said, helping her stand. She blinked, dazed. Dark, it hurts. I know, he said, but it'll keep you safe. They packed quickly. Darren helped Rhea into a dark hooded cloak to hide her glow. As they crossed into thicker trees, he activated an old EMP trap and left it behind. If someone or something followed, it would get a surprise. As they moved deeper, the light around them dimmed. Fog crawled around their boots. Darren held Rhea's hand tightly. Suddenly, Rhea stopped. What is it? He asked. She pointed to the trees. There, barely visible, were claw marks, deep ones, not from a machine. Something had passed through here before, and it wasn't friendly. Darren scanned ahead. No sign of life, but Rhea whispered, They come, from sky. He looked up. High above, hidden in the clouds, a black ship hovered, silent and still, watching. Darren felt cold. They reached a rocky ridge and made camp again. A cave provided cover. Rhea curled up near the warm lantern, her glow now almost gone. Darren sat across from her, deep in thought. They're watching, he said. But they don't come down yet. Rhea whispered. They wait. Until I break. He looked at her. But you're not broken. You're stronger than they think. Her eyes welled with tears. You are strange, human. He smiled. So are you. She reached out, touching his chest again. But this time, her fingers didn't tremble. I glow, she said, but with you, I feel quiet inside. Outside the cave, the shadowy drone landed softly on the ground. It scanned the mud and found a single glowing hair. The hunt had truly begun. The cave was quiet, but Darren couldn't sleep. He sat near the entrance, holding his old plasma rifle, listening to the wind whisper through the rocks. His mind replayed the scan. The ship above. The tracker in Rhea's back. The glowing mark. Something was coming. He could feel it, in his bones. Behind him, Rhea stirred. She sat up slowly, wrapping the cloak tighter around her glowing body. The patch Darren had placed on her was starting to fail. Faint blue light was leaking from the edges again. He turned to her. We need to move soon. She looked at him. Her eyes were glowing brighter, not from fear, but from something changing inside her. My body. Waking up, she whispered. They will smell me. That confused him. Smell you? She nodded. I was made with predator scent. Once awake, they come. Just then, the scanner in Darren's hand beeped once. Softly. Not one, not two. 5 red dots, all closing in fast. Darren stood. They're here. Rhea stood beside him, her face hard, her hands glowing brighter now, pulsing like a living power cell. Darren grabbed a small black cube and pressed it to the cave wall. The cube beeped and blinked. An EMP mine, something left from his army days. He set 2 more along the narrow path to the cave entrance. If they're coming, they'll taste a human welcome, he muttered. Minutes later, a high-pitched whine filled the air. Darren looked up. A sleek black scout drone zipped across the cave entrance. It paused mid-air, scanned, then, click. It exploded in a flash of blue sparks. The EMP mine worked, but that was only a scout. Now, the forest echoed with heavy boots, armored boots. Darren knelt beside Rhea. Hide back. No matter what happens, don't come out. But she touched his arm. They made me weak, but with you I feel strong. He hesitated. Rhea, they'll kill us both. She shook her head. They fear me waking. You woke me. Suddenly a deep alien voice shouted from the trees outside. Subject 7. By command of the Zarn Lab Council, surrender. You are not allowed to bond. Darren. Raised an eyebrow. Bond? Rhea looked away, embarrassed. When I touched you, it linked us. His heart skipped. The voice outside grew louder. Release the human. He is unauthorized property contact. This is your only warning. Darren whispered, Did they just call me property? Rhea nodded. They don't see you as threat, only tool. Darren chuckled darkly. They're in for a surprise. The first enemy stepped into view, a tall alien in black armor, glowing red eyes behind a helmet. He raised a stun weapon and fired, but Darren was faster. He rolled to the side and fired his plasma rifle, direct hit. The armored alien dropped. The others stormed forward, but Rhea stepped out of the cave, glowing fully now. No cloak, no patch, just light and rage. Her hands lifted, and the air itself shimmered. A wave of invisible force slammed into the attackers, throwing them back like rag dolls. Darren watched in shock. That wasn't in the data. Rhea turned, panting, her eyes glowing like twin stars. My body remembers. The ground trembled. The ship above suddenly started to descend, now worried. More forces were coming. We have to go now. Darren shouted. Smoke rose from the trees. The alien soldiers had fallen, but the real threat was only beginning. Darren grabbed Rhea's hand as the black ship above them began to descend, its engines humming like a giant beast breathing through metal lungs. We can't fight a dropship, Darren said quickly. We need cover. But Rhea didn't move. Her feet were planted on the ground. Her glowing hands clenched tightly. They will never stop, she said softly, until I'm dead or back in their cage. Darren looked at her. Then let's make them regret coming. He led her through a narrow path into the deeper swamp. The old trees twisted around them like ancient bones. Darren knew this area. He had mapped it on day one. He had traps here. He touched the inside of his wrist console. Click. Boom. Behind them, a sharp explosion echoed as one of his motion-triggered mines went off. A scream followed. Then silence. They're still chasing, Darren said. But slower now. Rhea moved beside him. She was breathing heavy. The glow in her body was spreading, not just her hands, but her veins, her neck, even her face. She was becoming brighter, but she was also weakening. My power burns fast, she said, leaning against a tree. If I use too much, I fall asleep. Darren frowned. You're like a candle, bright but burning out. She looked at him. Would you still protect a dying candle? He gave a small smile. I don't care if you glow or not. You're not a thing. You're someone. Suddenly, a loud roar shattered the stillness. Not a ship, not a soldier. Something else. Rhea froze. Her face went pale. They brought a beastborn. Darren blinked. A what? Failed version. Before me. They made it wild, strong, no mind. From the mist, a shape emerged, 10 feet tall, covered in black armored skin, glowing red like lava under its body. 4 eyes, clawed hands like razors. It wasn't here to capture, it was here to kill. The creature howled and charged. Darren pulled his rifle and fired. Once, twice, 3 times. The shots landed but bounced off its skin like sparks on rock. It doesn't stop, he shouted. Rhea stepped forward, glowing brighter than ever. She raised her hands. A blast of light shot from her palms and hit the beast square in the chest. It screamed but didn't fall. Instead, it turned toward her. Darren grabbed her. We have to run. No, she said. It only knows me. I must end it. He shook his head. You'll die. I already died in that lab, she whispered. You made me alive again. She closed her eyes. Her glow focused inward. Her body trembled as a ball of burning blue energy formed between her hands. The beast leapt. She opened her eyes and released everything. The swamp exploded in light. Trees bent. The sky turned white for 1 full second. Then, silence. The beast lay still, burned, cracked open, and Rhea collapsed in Darren's arms. He held her tightly. Her skin was cold, her eyes barely open. Rhea. No, stay awake. She smiled faintly. Did I do good, Darren? He nodded quickly. You saved us. Tears ran down his face. Now let me save you. She whispered. Don't cry, human. You are warm. I feel safe. And then, darkness took her. Darren's heart pounded as he held Rhea's body close. Her glow was fading, slowly, quietly, like the last light in a dying star. Her breathing was shallow, almost gone. He shook her gently. Rhea, please, don't leave me now. No. Response. He pressed his ear to her chest. The heartbeat was still there, but it was weak. Too weak. She had used everything to save him. Darren looked around the swamp, burned, broken, quiet. The creature she destroyed had left a black crater in the earth. But Rhea had paid the price. He didn't have time. Not to cry, not to panic. He had to act. Inside his pack, Darren still carried one emergency stasis injector, a military-grade tool to freeze a wounded person's body in time until proper medical help could arrive. He'd saved it for himself, just in case. But now, he stabbed it into Rhea's neck. The device hissed. Her body froze in place. Heart rate steady. Breath halted but protected. She was still alive, but just barely. I won't let them take you, he said, gently brushing hair from her face. I swear it. 3 hours later, Darren reached his ship, hidden under camouflage netting near a ridge. The scanner showed one enemy ship still hovering far above, searching. He had to move fast. He placed Rhea in the ship's medbed, activated auto-stabilizers, and began liftoff prep. The engines groaned, dust flying up from beneath. Just as the ship lifted off, a message pinged through his old comm system. Encrypted but familiar, he played it. A robotic female voice echoed, Subject 7 is not property. Subject 7 is key. She holds a royal sequence code. Repeat, Subject 7 carries royal code. Darren's blood ran cold. Royal code? He whispered. He ran a deeper scan on Rhea's genetic markers using the medbed. The results popped up. His eyes widened. Rhea was not just a failed experiment. She was made from the DNA of the royal Zarn bloodline and programmed to create a new ruling class. Her purpose was not to destroy, but to replace the old rulers. She was a living reset button. Suddenly, he understood everything, the chains, the fear, why the lab kept her hidden, why they wanted her dead once she bonded with a human, because bonding made her uncontrollable. She chose her own future, Darren said, and now they're terrified. Rhea began glowing faintly. Again, the medbed showed brain activity returning. She was waking up. Her eyes opened slowly. Darren leaned over her. Hey, you're okay, I've got you. She blinked, confused. Am I still broken? He smiled. No, you're waking up stronger. She frowned. But I feel warm, not just power. I feel... She touched his face. Is this love? Darren? He swallowed hard. It might be. The ship shook slightly. A second message came through the comms. This time, not encrypted. A voice full of fear. To all patrols, Subject 7 has bonded with human. Royal code has shifted. She is no longer under Zarn control. Do not engage, repeat, do not engage. Darren grinned. Guess they figured out they can't cage her anymore. Rhea sat up slowly. What happens now? He held her hand. Now. We go where no one owns you. No cage, no lab, no war. She leaned her head against his shoulder. Then take me there, Darren. Let me be. Rhea. Not a tool, not a weapon. He nodded. You're not a thing, he whispered. You're mine to protect. And no one takes you away. Stars stretched beyond the window as Darren's ship broke through the planet's atmosphere. The swamp, the soldiers, the screams, they were all behind them now. But what lay ahead was unknown. Rhea sat beside Darren in the co-pilot seat. Her silver hair was no longer tangled. Her skin, once bruised and covered in mud, now glowed gently with a calm light. But her eyes held a storm of thoughts. Where are we going? She asked quietly. Anywhere but back, Darren said. I know a place. Quiet moon, hidden from scanners. Old smugglers used to hide there. Rhea nodded slowly. Do you think I can live like them? Like people? He glanced at her. You are people, Rhea. You just never got the chance. They traveled for hours, passing through the dark folds of space. Darren tried to rest, but his mind wouldn't slow down. What had started as a salvage mission had turned into something else, something impossible. He had rescued a being not just created in a lab, but designed to rule. But she didn't want to rule. She just wanted to belong. As they approached the outer belt of a hidden moon, a signal pinged, this time from Rhea's internal code. She gasped softly. Someone is calling me. Darren turned quickly. The Zarn? She shook her head. No, it feels older, deeper, from inside me. Suddenly her chest glowed, brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered with waves of color. The medbed scanner beeped wildly. Darren ran to her. Rhea. She didn't seem afraid. I remember now, she whispered. I was not made to destroy. I was made to choose. To find a path not written for me. Her glow stabilized. Her body relaxed. I've chosen, she said softly. Darren exhaled. Chosen what? She looked at him. You. Later that night, Darren set up a shelter dome on the moon's quiet surface. The stars above shimmered gently over a field of purple grass and soft wind. Rhea stepped out in silence and looked at the sky. For the first time, free. She stretched out her arms and spun slowly in the wind, laughing, really laughing. Not out of pain, not fear, but joy. Darren watched from the doorway, smiling. You've never seen stars like this, have you? She shook her head. I never saw stars. Without a ceiling, she walked over to him and placed her hand on his chest. You were my light in the mud, she whispered. And you, Darren replied, were the reason I came back to life. She smiled. Will humans accept me if they see me glowing? They'll stare, Darren said, but I'll be standing next to you, let them stare. Back on the ship, a final message arrived, from deep space, no signature, just a sentence. The bond is complete. The royal line ends here. Let her live freely. We will not come. Darren read it out loud. Rhea nodded. Then, they finally understand. What now? He asked. She looked at him. Now we build something new. They stood under the twin moons of the hidden world, one human, one alien, no longer alone. No more chains, no more cages, no more glowing as a weapon. Only hope, only choice, only each other. And somewhere, in the silence between stars, the galaxy shifted just a little, because one human chose to help, and one alien chose to live. Together,